Hi everyone, I hope you are all doing great. I just wanted to take a minute and talk to you about week 4 and what to expect for week 4. So this week we're going to be talking about understanding racism, prejudice, and white privilege, right? And so the learning objectives, again, these can be found each week in the syllabus. We're going to learn the definition of racism and prejudice. We're going to talk about human tendencies. We're going to learn more about implications for providers in dealing with the stress of racism. We're going to talk about institutional racism and how to identify it, cultural racism, as well as white privilege. So we're going to be learning about all of those things. So the readings that you have for this week are the textbook, chapter 4. You also have several video resources that can be found on Blackboard. So be sure to take a look at those. And then this week you're going to have a discussion posting like usual. You're going to be posting, you have to post your original post by Thursday, and you have to respond to 2 others by Sunday. So the questions that you need to think about this week is recall a time that you broke out of the in-group and the out-group tendencies. What were the benefits of that behavior? What aspects of the experience made you feel uncomfortable? Did anything fundamentally change for you due to the experience? And then the next part, is there a time that you have witnessed or experienced institutional racism? As noted in the chapter, there are multiple things that make it difficult for an individual to surface institutional racism. Which of these reasons, if any, did you find true for yourself? And then reflecting on the videos, right? Share at least 2 examples of how the content helps enhance your diversity lens and understanding. So those are the things that you need to think about for this week as you're doing the readings and the videos. Then the other thing that you have to do this week is the cultural autobiography, right? So this is an assignment that is designed to help you explore your own multiple group identities. This assignment will focus on a description of your cultural background, values, and beliefs associated with your multiple group identities and how these dimensions of who you are influenced your attitudes towards and interactions with others. Okay, so it's kind of a handful, but I'm going to break it down for you. Here are some of the objectives of the assignment and some of the purposes behind the assignment. And then here's some instructions. So I am going to post this PowerPoint online for you so that you literally can copy and paste these instructions. It's this page and the next page into a Word document, and you can use this as a guide, as an outline for your assignment, right? So the first part is going to be the self-introduction, right? So provide a summary of your multiple cultural and diversity identities. Include all that may apply. And then I list some examples there. Then you're going to talk about the next section of the paper is going to be your biases and isms. All people have biases and isms, right? Becoming aware of these is the first step toward understanding how they can impact your interactions with others. So I have a really funny story about my own biases and isms that I experienced when I was in the master's, getting my MSW. I was sitting with a friend and we were talking about field placements for me, right? And different field placement options for what I could do in my master's. And she was going through the list and I was kind of like, yeah, maybe. And then she listed one agency that had that worked with homelessness. And I immediately went, oh no. And I had to take a moment and reflect on that to realize I didn't even know I had that bias. Like, where did that come from? I have nothing but respect for individuals who are homeless, and it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, where did that come from? So kind of ironically, I ended up working at a domestic violence shelter where I was the transitional housing coordinator. This was while I was in my master's and right after I finished my master's. And in order to qualify for the transitional housing program, the individuals had to be deemed homeless. And the agency got HUD funding for this transitional housing program. So I had to go to all these homeless coalition meetings, and I had to go to visit all of these other homeless agencies to find out what they were doing regarding transitional housing. And so it was just very interesting how the circle kind of came back, and I learned so much through that experience. And it was an example of this bias that I originally had that I didn't even recognize that I had, and that was my first reaction, and I never understood why I reacted that way. So again, all people have these biases and these isms, and so becoming aware of them is the first part to recognizing them. And so you're going to talk about that in this paper with this biases and isms section. So you're going to talk about that. And then in the next section of the paper, you're going to talk about oppression. Describe a time when you have been the victim of oppression or observed and or may have gone along with oppression of a member, right? So talk about that experience. And then you're going to write a summary. In review of your responses to sections 1 through 3, reflect on the following questions. Why is it important to understand your cultural diverse identities and your experiences with biases and isms? How can you leverage this knowledge to become a better you? How can you become a better social worker if you're in this class? Taking into consideration what you have learned through this review in the classroom, what are some specific actions that you plan to take to continue to enhance your cultural humbleness and competency? Maybe it's attending a homeless coalition meeting where you learn more, or maybe it's attending a workshop or watching a documentary or different things like that. So some of the writing instructions, right? So content should be written in first person. Since this is a personal reflection, it should be double-spaced, Times New Roman, 12-point font, 4 to 5 pages, not including the title page and the references page. I do want you to include a title page, a running header, and a references page for referencing back anything that you have learned from the textbook that you can draw into this paper. Use at least 2 to 3 references from your assigned readings, the media, or additional scholarly literature to connect or clarify your content and review. And then everything should be done in APA style, and content should be free of grammar and spelling errors. So definitely please utilize the OLU Writing Center. They are a great resource for you in order to help you edit and look at some of your papers, the flow and organization of your papers. They will be a tremendous help and resource for you. So these are just some things that I wanted to kind of go over with you. The cultural autobiography paper, that due date is obviously wrong, but right here, major assignments, overviews, and rubrics. That's where you're going to turn it in. And then there's a link right here, cultural autobiography paper. I will update this due date today. So, but be sure and take a look at this PowerPoint. It will help you with the instructions. I will again post it online for you. And please, as always, please shoot me an email and let me know if you have any questions or if you want to set up an appointment. Also, after your discussion posting, again, at the end of every discussion posting, please just write a little note about whether I did not do any service learning activities this week, or I did do service learning and it went great. Just a very, very one-sentence quick synopsis so that I can keep track of everyone who is staying on top of it, or if you're struggling for some reason or another, I can reach out to you, different things like that. So please keep that up, and you guys are doing a great job, and I look forward to reading these autobiographies. Thank you so much.